think that's good. Maybe we have about 44 participants now, so maybe we can start, Colin.
Oh, sounds good.
Oh, did you want some intro talks, or should I just pop in?
Oh, well, I'll just say welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. This is great. It's our first Hydro Pensioners Association Zoom session. One of our members at our church had this talk before and thought it was a value add for people our age, being able to access resources that help us stay in our home. And Shahin is our presenter who's familiar with the topic, and she's kindly agreed to talk to us today about it. So hope we find it interesting. I'll just mention again, if you have any questions, if you can submit them in the chat, putting a Q at the front will help us not overlook them. And we'll access the questions at the end. I think it's over to you, Shahin.
Thanks, Colin. It's really, I get confused because I see the Julia there, and then I'm like, my brain's doing that left, right decision-making thing here.
Yeah,
Hello,
sorry about
everyone.
that.
It's Love.
I just said the accounts and the HPO accounts in Julia's name, our president. That's why the name doesn't match my face.
Yeah. It's lovely to see everybody here. I mean, what a group we have here too. So thank you for coming in. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. I'm going to give you some hopefully succinct information that you can take with you and work through it together with your families, your children, your grandchildren, and each other. So I will be sharing my screen with you during this PowerPoint presentation. And I know that some of the questions that are going to come up are going to be, will we get the presentation? Yes, you will. Some of the links that I'll be talking about, you will get them too, so that you can work through them. And any other questions, as Colin mentioned, just put a Q at the bottom. It says chat. You can click on chat, put a Q beside it, and then add your question. And at the end, we will have time for question and answer. Okay. All right. So I'm going, bear with me here while I share my screen for this PowerPoint. Okay. Can everybody see this screen?
I can see it, Shahin. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. If you can see it, I'm hoping everybody else can. Okay. Maybe we'll do it so that we're not raising our hands. We're actually just putting a Q in. All right. So my name is Shahin. I'm actually a mindfulness meditation teacher. I work with corporations where I go in and I talk about mindfulness, stress reduction. How do we try and tamp down a little bit of the stress that goes on in workplaces? And primarily, I work with parents and children. So, and that's my website there if anybody's interested. I have some free talks in there, some podcasts at the end where it says free resources. So you can pop in there and listen to podcasts if you want. Okay, so we're going to be talking about planning today for, I'm just going to move this out of the way. Okay, we'll be talking today about planning today for the life we want to live tomorrow. Now, we are all in the afternoon and evening of our lives, right? And so, you know, when we're in our teens and our 20s and our 30s and even our 40s and sometimes our 50s, there's a lot of excitement about planning for our future, especially in the morning and early afternoon of our lives. But as we start going into this late afternoon and early evening period of our lives, sometimes planning becomes cumbersome and heavy. Am I right? So it's interesting to do this on Zoom. Typically, I enjoy doing talks like this on in person, so I can actually feel the energy of the participants. But we play with what we have. So
We can hear you.
Planning, right, Colin? Yeah. But hopefully you'll get what I'm saying to you, what I'm trying to get across to you today. So planning in the later stages of our lives becomes almost heavy and cumbersome. And there are so many of us who just end up putting it off, right? So, and life is unpredictable. So how many of us have said, I don't want to think about it right now, or I'll cross that bridge when I come to it? Well, sometimes when we come to that bridge, it's either not there anymore for us, or it's got some pieces missing. And then we don't have the capacity or the bandwidth or the skills at that time to be able to build that bridge again. And so we make do with what we have. And sometimes it's not always that best place that we can be in, that ideal vision that we had of how we were going to grow older. So what I'd like you to do is just settle into your chairs or your couch, wherever you're sitting. And if you're on a couch, you're very lucky. Close your eyes for just a couple minutes and feel your emotions around aging. Just feel what comes up for you when you think about aging. Getting older, old age. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and perhaps in the chat, just type in one or two feelings that came up. Typically, when I talk about this, people say I get anxiety or some stress or this feeling of sadness, fatigue, overwhelmed, a bit of panic. A lot of us have insomnia, worry. Worry is a big one that comes up for people when they start thinking about aging. And why don't we feel like inner peace, a sense of calm? I can rest in wisdom. I can rest in my spirituality. Why doesn't that come up, I wonder? Because really, it is, after all of our experiences, shouldn't we have a sense of calm? Shouldn't we, as the elders within our communities, within our families, within our churches, our mosques, our in our groups, wherever we are, shouldn't we have that sense of calm and inner peace within us? I mean, each and every one of us has worked so hard in our lives, all of our lives, right? And some of us are immigrants, some of us are daughters and sons of immigrants, right? And we, for me, myself, I'm a daughter of immigrant parents, right? And we came into this land of snow and cold, and I was born in Africa. And I remember my mom saying, oh my God, where have I come to this place with no sun? Because we moved in the middle of October in the middle of Port Colborne, of all places, right? And so we've worked hard during our lives, right? And so why shouldn't this be a time in our lives where we can have this sense of inner peace, a sense of calm, resting in our wisdom, right? And to be able to provide for others in our lives, instead of feeling like we're dependent on them. So now, they're going to take care of us, and that feeling of independence and loss of control happens, right? So really, what we want is, how can I experience calm and peace as I age? And that's the question we want to sit with. So as we sit with that question, here are a few facts for you. Our population is aging, right? So by 2050, there's 5% of our population is expected to be 80 and older. By 2050, there will be 3 times more 85 plus people in our environment. So it is the fastest growing age group. And yet sometimes it feels like it's the age group that is left aside, that is not full of energy and vitality. And yet each of us have so much wisdom, so much energy, and so much vitality. When we look in the mirror, we don't see our age, we see who we were, who we are, like our energetic way of being. So when I talk about this aging in place, what does it mean to you? So the formal definition of aging in place is having health and social supports and services that you need to live safely and independently in your home or your community for as long as you wish and are able to. So it's within your control. So in a practical sense, aging in place has very important mental and emotional implication for seniors. It allows them, and it allows us, to have the freedom and ability to make and be supported in our personal choices for as long as possible. And we want to elongate that as long as possible. We want to have control of our own personal choice. Okay? It's aging in place means that we have a sense of safety and security, that we have the benefits of routine in our lives and our social network, that it means that we have the benefits of, allows us to have proper nourishment and care, a sense that we will have some measure of control over our experience of aging. You see, when we're in our 20s and 30s and 40s, we feel in control. We have control over where are we going to work, who are we going to spend life with. Well, we've done all that. And now it feels like sometimes it feels like other people take that over for us, whether that be our family or the communities. And the whole idea is to just say, thank you very much, but I'm taking back that control because I am willing and able to do that. It really is a way to preserve our dignity and to preserve the quality of life that we deserve. So when I talk about what does aging in place and continuing to be independent and have control look like, it means I want to be able to look after myself. I want to be able to dress myself. I want to be able to wash myself. I want to maintain my dignity. I want to feel safe and secure in the place that I choose to live. So that could be in my home, or it could be in a community home, a retirement home, but whatever that place is, I've chosen it. I've already planned for it. I can do my own grocery shopping, or I choose who does my grocery shopping for me. I can visit my friends and family, go for coffee. I can drive myself, or know who is going to drive me when I get to the place where I can't drive myself anymore. So these are really important conversations to have had before we lose some of our abilities to do these things. That doesn't mean we lose all of our abilities. It simply means that those particular tasks we can't do anymore for ourselves. And that's okay, because we can allow others to do that for us. To have financial independence. I want to be able to have financial independence. So in order to have that, we need to plan for it. Right? And other comments I've had is to continue giving my family lasting memories and advice that they will remember and think of when I'm gone, when I exit this stage, right? And to feel thankful for a full life without complaints and with so much gratitude. So aging in place fosters a personal choice to maintain or improve our quality of life. And I'm recapping this: to live independently, to be supported in our decisions. This is really important, to be supported in our decisions. Because when we make that decision, we want to make it at a time in our lives where the people around us who are going to be a part of our care support our decisions. They know that we have made them with a sound mind and body, to be able to feel safe and secure, and to preserve routine. Routines are important, routines are important throughout all stages of life. From the baby stage, of course, people say, oh, you need routine. I have a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old. They need their routines as well. And in our later years, we also need our routines, because that tells our brain that it's okay, we're safe. So our brain needs to know that, is life going to be okay? And when we have some semblance of routine, our brain gets the message that all is going to be okay. So we've talked about white plan. We need to plan in order to have this inner peace, a sense of calm, to rest in wisdom, and to forge deeper connections and relationships with other people. So not just our families, but other people in the community. I noticed as everybody came on, I'm not quite sure when was the last time you've seen each other, but there was a smile in your voices as you were saying hello to each other. Right? Mm-hmm. So to form and continue to form those connections and relationships, because just as routines are important, talking to different people in our lives is important too, because with the brain, it starts pruning as we get older, and it only flourishes like a tree when we start talking to different people, learn about different things, do our daily Sudoku, right? So, or our mini crosswords, as I do. Okay. So we really want to plan not just for the safety and security part, but also to be able to say to ourselves, you know what, all that has been taken care of. When the time comes, I've already made that plan. But so now I can rest in calm. I can rest. I have this sense of peace, because, when we don't plan and we know something is coming up for us, that we need to do this, or we need to do our will, or we need to make sure our finances are in order, or tax season is coming up. Have you noticed that the back of our heads has a little, almost like a hum going on back there, that is like this mind chatter that goes on? Oh yeah, I still have to do that. Oh yeah, I still have to respond to that email, right? And that mind chatter takes away a lot of our energy. That energy, it's an energy sap. It's almost like on your phone, if you have apps running in the background, it's draining your battery. Well, when we don't plan and we know we're eventually going to have to deal with this, it drains our batteries and we can't fully feel gratitude when we walk. We can't fully feel gratitude when we have our coffee and chai chats. Okay. So that's why we plan. I love this quote, and I always put it in quite a few of my sessions. The soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind. So how do we silence that mind? It's to take care of what's in front of us before it gets away from us. So we've talked about the why of why we need to plan. So how do we plan? How do we get started? So this is a specific toolkit that was developed, prepared by the United Way, British Columbia, and the Aga Khan Council for Canada. So it includes self-assessment, planning exercises, a lot of resources. And I tell you, when I started going into those resources, I spent hours into that rabbit hole. And I was quite stunned. I don't normally take on presentations like this, but I did for our mosque. And the reason I did was because I went through this toolkit and I thought, oh my God, I didn't even know that all this stuff existed. And I was so energized by it that I thought, you know what, I have to give this presentation. I have to take this on. And this Aging in Place toolkit also has reflections. So a reflection of where you are in your life right now, and then an action plan. So it's a really dynamic toolkit. So when you do it, it's not static. You can redo it in 3 months or a month or 6 months later. You can do it with your family and see how so that they can also see where you are and what you're thinking. And we'll go through some of the pieces of this toolkit. So the benefits of this plan are to maintain health and independence, which we've talked about, as we age. So I'm 60 right now, so I've done it. So as I get older, you might be 70. As you age, by the time you're 75, you might want to change it a little bit, or 73, and you might want to make a plan for yourself to visit every year to see how things have changed. It gets easier as you do it, because, and it's kind of fun too, because it allows us to have that feeling of control. Okay. And it allows you to know, because sometimes when things are ambiguous out there in the air, we're not able to fully grasp what we need. And at this age, what I say is the afternoon and evening of our lives, we need to know, right? And when we know, we can make a plan. So what considerations are involved in making the plan and the decisions to support us as we age? And the plan also has questions and checklists, which we talked about, and it covers many aspects of our life. And really, it's to prepare us for our years as we get older, year by year by year by year, and give us the best chance to have that positive experience, that best chance to be able to rest in calm and peace and in our wisdom. And to maintain control. At this, as we get older, we feel that we're losing a little bit of control over our body. I know the last couple of days I've been waking up with this lower back, and I'm like, what's going on? Why is my lower back hurting? I've been looking at how to do exercises, the Qigong exercises for my organs and my digestive system, and, headache. And so, but slowly our body starts telling us, oh, okay, so you thought you could run. Well, Maybe now you just need to walk, right? So really it's about thinking about what my life will look like in 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. And for each of you, and to give us more control over the future changes. So we know that change is going to happen. And to avoid making hasty decisions, especially when faced with a crisis. I know so many people in our community that suddenly get faced with these crises, a fall, broken hip, end up in the hospital, and no plan. So the kids have no plan on who's taking mom or what they're going to do, what the visiting schedule is going to be like, who's going to call the physiotherapist, or who's going to get a PSW. None of these plans have been made. And all of a sudden, everybody is in panic. Okay. So how do you get started? So if you're familiar with Google, you can go into your browser and Google. I use Chrome, and you type in www.aginginplaceplan.ca. Okay, and we will go through it. I'm going to share your screen as to how to do it. Okay, I just want to get through a couple more slides here, and then we'll go through what the checklist actually looks like. Okay, and then you start the checklist. So today I went in and I plugged in, so I'm just not to confuse you, but I plugged in aginginplace.ca, and it came up with a GoDaddy website, that it's a domain. So make sure that all 4 words are in there. Aging in Place Plan. So the plan piece is important, okay? And you will get this link as well. So here are the steps that you need to do. Set aside 1 hour to complete the checklist. It won't take you long. The first time you go through it, it will not take you long to go through it, okay? Go through the checklist. Don't worry if you cannot finish, okay? At the bottom, you can save your progress. And when you start the checklist, it will ask you for your email. And when you save your progress, it will send you an email that this is where you left off, and you can continue when you're ready. So as you go through the checklist, there are simply yes answers, no answers, and skip question, okay? So if it's a yes, go on to the next question. If it's a no, then once you're finished, whoever is behind this website, you will automatically get resources. Colin, you answered no for this, this, and this. Here are 3 resources for each of these areas for planning, okay? So that's what you'll get in your email box. And then you will have links that you can go into, that you can look at the resources and say, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that where can I get driving tips? Where can I get resources for community service? Where can I find a job, a part-time job for seniors? I didn't know. So it will give you those resources. Now, if the question is not applicable to you, you just skip the question, okay?
Shahin, am I right in understanding that the website will give us a sort of a personalized list of
Yes.
resources based on our answers to the questions?
Exactly.
Thank
That's a really important key. Thank you for pointing that out. It's a personalized list of resources. Okay. And it's there's a lot of resources, and I'll go through some of them with you. Okay. So here are the 9 areas of planning and I like to think of it as a wheel. When I show it to you, it's pretty linear in the website, but I like to think of it as a wheel, because all our areas of planning need to be balanced in order for the wheel to move smoothly. Okay, so it's home, transportation, finances, our connection, safety, support and services, our community, our partner, and our health. So these are the 9 areas of planning opportunities. So here's the checklist, and I'm going to come out of here and end it here. And then I'm going to share another screen with you. Okay, so this is what it looks like.
I think we're still looking at your PowerPoint screen.
Oh, are you? Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop share and I'm going to reshare.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes, we see what looks like a
Okay.
website now. Yeah.
Okay, so you see the toolkit, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it says getting started. So when you click in to aginginplaceplan.ca, this is what will come up for you. And then, so you can see the instructions are down below. Can you see me scrolling?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
So it tells you step 1, set aside some time, step 2, step 3. As you respond, suggested resources will sometimes appear when you select no. Do not worry about opening these right away. They will also be provided to you in a list on your summary page, okay? After you complete the checklist, your summary will be provided. You can email the summary page to yourself, okay? All available resources can be found in the resource library, which I will go through. So if you don't want to do this online, and if you want a paper copy, you can download that here. Okay, so it's a PDF checklist and you can just click it. Now, if you do this, you will not get the resources personalized for you. Because if you do it here, so suppose I say start now. So this, notice when I said the linear, this is how it is. Okay. So my health. And each section, now my home, each section has a video. My transportation, it has a little video, not very long, about a minute. And maybe we'll watch this for a minute. So, for example, it will say most older adults will live 7 to 10 years past their ability to drive safely. Think about the types of transportation you use now, and do you plan to continue traveling in the same way when you're older? And then these are the types of checklist, okay? In every province, you'll receive a letter before your 75th or 80th birthday. Okay, I'm aware that, and to have access alternative means of transportation in the event that my health or vision declines, I have to give up driving. I am aware, yes or no, right? So you would just click yes. I have thought about what it costs to run them and maintain. So these maintain my own vehicle compared to the cost of other means of transportation. So these are some of the questions that you'll have. And here's that save progress and return later piece here. See how it highlights when I click on it? And then here's the next. So let's have a look at this video on transportation, for example. I'm hoping you'll be able to hear it. Can you hear it?
Not hearing any video, any audio, rather.
Oh, sorry.
Realize you don't have.
I can see it, Shahin, but just no audio for,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Okay.
I hear you. You know why? Because I had my Can
Transportation.
you hear now?
I can hear now.
Picture, it's a Wednesday evening. You're about to make dinner when you realize you don't have all the groceries you need. You jump in your car, head to the nearest grocery store, pick up all your groceries, put them in your car, and head home to cook dinner as you'd originally planned. Now imagine what would happen if your doctor told you that it was no longer safe for you to drive. What would you do? Do you have a plan in place to meet your future transportation needs? How would you manage the tasks of daily living without having the option of driving where you want, when you want? As you plan for your future transportation needs, consider the following. Is it time for you to take a refresher driver course? Are you close to and familiar with the public transit system? Does your local grocery store have a delivery service? And if yes, how do you access this service and how much does it cost? Have you had a conversation with your loved ones, friends, or someone you trust about how your transportation needs may change in the future and what assistance you may require from them? Preparing now for your transportation needs of tomorrow will keep you moving in the future. Plan today for the life you want to live tomorrow.
We heard no problem, Sheen.
Okay, good. It was because I had my AirPods in.
Oh,
That's why I was the only one who could hear it, but I
Yeah.
could hear it, yeah. Okay, so the same thing with finances. You can go through, and even if you don't go through the whole checklist right away, but even if you just touch on each of these videos, it will just play in the back of your mind and go, okay, let me take this on. Take the reins, so to speak, okay? Your connections. Again, same questions, okay? Not the same questions, but your safety. If you plan to live in your home, do you have the resources right now to be able to put in the bars that you need, for example? Or have you saved enough? Or do you know where to get those resources? So you're not running around trying to find these at the last minute. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share of this for a few minutes and then come back to my PowerPoint. Okay, we can see that.
I can see the PowerPoint again, yeah?
Okay, so basically I've just got a couple of things here. So we talked about driving, but I have community and finances and support and services. You might even, when you're doing the checklist, just intuitively know what you need to address. And you might want to just address that one piece, and it will give you the resources that you need for that. Okay. So, for example, this is an arbitrary one. Health, home. So I took a wheel, and when I just arbitrarily did a fictional person's thing, and I came up with, suppose this here in the middle is 0, and at the outside of the wheel is 10. So my number for health, maybe I'm not where I need to be, and I put as 4 by the time I finished the checklist. And then I colored that part in. Home, 5. Transportation, maybe I have a good city transit system that I'm perfectly capable of using. Transportation was okay. Maybe my finances need to be worked on. My connections are good, right? So you see how the wheel in each of these areas is completed, and you could do this for yourself after you've completed your checklist. And once you get your resources. And once you answer, you have a feel for knowing, okay, what's lacking here? And the things to address are the ones that are lower, so that you can balance this wheel out so it runs more smoothly. So the more piece of the pie that we can balance out in the next little while, the more calmer you'll feel. Okay. And that's our aim, to feel calm and rest in our wisdom. Aging is not lost youth, but a new stage of opportunity and strength. Okay, so here are some examples of the resources available. So if I went into that website again, Job Bank, Government of Canada, filtered for seniors, Job Bank filtered for seniors, age-friendly communities, use of surveillance tech to monitor seniors at home. So my sister actually had her and her husband had her mother-in-law live with them, and they were able to go away for a weekend. She wanted to stay at home, and they had, you know, those chairlifts for the stairs, but they were able to monitor, so to make sure that she was okay when she was walking around in the kitchen, and you could do that as well with your family, right? I know, believe it or not, my daughter, 19-year-old daughter, tracks me on her cell phone. And she actually said to me the other day, "Oh, you went to the Cactus Club."
Oh boy.
So she tracks me because I drive alone quite a bit. And so she's tracking me to make sure I get home safely. All right, so these are some of the resources. Seniors stay home longer in the US with simple fixes. Okay. Adult day programs, Canadian Red Cross. So there's a whole bunch of those. And this one, the one I love the most, which Nazma will attest to, that if you get nothing out of this session, like absolutely nothing, then get one thing. And that's the number 211. So we know 911 for emergency, and we know 311 for municipal affairs, but 211 is, if you look at it here, I'm just moving faces around, it's, you select your province. So right now we're in Ontario, and you can visit 211, you can call 211, and you can ask for resources. And they'll give you whatever question you have. So for example, if you need to know, how do I get a walker and get subsidies for a walker, for example, they will ask you where you live, your municipality, or what your location, and they will be able to provide you with information. And maybe once I'm finished, Nazma can share with us some of her experiences of calling 211. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to move. So
You're doing
yeah.
good, Darcy.
Okay, good. I'm just looking on the time here. So about 211, it is the primary source of information for government and community-based non-clinical health. Okay, and social services. It's free, it's confidential, and it can be accessed 24 hours a day, and it's 150 languages by phone, chat, text, web, whatever you like. And I love it so much. So in provinces where customer satisfaction surveys were conducted, I can tell you 97% of people said they would call again or recommend 211. 89% of callers received the referral they needed. These are really high numbers, right? That's why I get so excited about 211. And 95% of callers were either satisfied or very satisfied. Okay, so that's a pretty good service we have, and I'm actually very grateful for this. It's not how old you are, it's how we are old, right? Play with some bubbles.
Hmm.
Before I end, I'll show you, I'll tell you a little story about my friend Tracy and why I also think this is such an important planning piece and planning process. So her mom was 65 at the time, and she's since then it's been about 10 years. But she started noticing early onset dementia pieces there. So she hadn't planned and she didn't know what to do. So she ended up having her mom over at her house. And then that was a whole issue because her mom kept walking outside and whatnot. Actually, I lie. I think she was 75 at the time, not 65, because Tracy was younger. And then what happened is she was able to get her into a home, and she was in that home for a couple of years in a dementia ward. And then after, she found out that one of the nurses said to her at the time, she said, you know, she's actually quite capable and she doesn't need to be in a locked ward. And Tracy said to me, she goes, you know what, Shahin, I didn't even know there was a difference between a locked dementia ward and a dementia ward where you can freely walk around. Now, this would have been really important information to know, right? And so I think that's a really important piece, that sometimes we don't know what we don't know until we look a little further and a little deeper. And when we know, that's when that piece of what I like to advocate for is that sense of calm, and that resting in wisdom comes in. Okay. So we've covered the what, aging and aging in place. We've covered the why, to create space for peace and calm in the later years of our lives by planning for our future independence and control. And we've talked about the how, the toolkit, aging in place plan.ca. And I don't get any money from the Canadian government for promoting this. It is a really good toolkit. And finally, the older we grow, the more peaceful we become. Life humbles us gradually as we age. We realize how much nonsense we've wasted our time on, and just do your best right now to feel the peace that flows from your decision to rise above the petty distractions that don't really matter. And with that,
Thank you, Shahin. That's amazing.
yeah, you're welcome. I was just you can do a bit of chatting and maybe Nazma while I look through these questions.
Well, yeah, it's you were obviously describing, ideas that we've probably thought about in our minds, but it's wonderful to hear them clearly articulated by your presentation, and so we can sort of look and determine how to have the best life possible. I did want to mention to everybody at the end, or when you leave the meeting, there'll be a survey presented. If you choose to give feedback, you're welcome to do so. Yeah. Again, if anyone has any questions, by all means, please bring them up in the chat, and Jean's kindly agreed to address them for us.
Yeah, so I'm looking at a question here.
I thought I'd get started with one. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to say, when we're going through the survey and the Aging in Place website, it's obvious, what the so-called correct answer is. That's the yes. But am I right that it's where the questions where you answer no for is what the website uses to generate your personalized recommendations?
Yeah, so I submitted this when I first before I did my first presentation on this. I submitted different different ways of saying
Answers.
different things. So I said no to everything and I got a whole bunch of resources. I said to yes to some things, and just to see what was I getting just a pat answer from them.
Okay.
And I did get different resources when I said no. Now, if you are going to say yes, but there's this thing in your brain going, you know what, but I'd like to learn more. Say no. Say no for
Okay.
now, right?
Okay.
And then you'll get the resources. If you want, you can even do like various different computations of it,
Right.
just to get different information, because you may not want to go through all the resources if you don't have the time. I actually spent about 5 to 6 hours on those resources at the end
Wow.
and went through each one.
Okay.
But you may not have that time. I was just doing it because I wanted to be completely sure of what I was getting into when I was doing my presentation. So yeah, you're to answer shortly. That's right.
Okay, that's great. Because my student mind wants to get the best into the best result possible and say yes to everything, but that's probably not going to give me the information that is best for me if I do that. So just to keep in mind consciously to be honest in the answers to get I guess the most effective result, recommendations. But wow.
Yeah. So David here mentions an important thing not mentioned is to keep your will up to date. Yes. So when you go through this plan, one of the questions may be, and I don't remember offhand, but is your will up to date? And if you answered no, it will give you resources. It will, from what I recall, it even says, do you have a will? And if you say no, it will give you resources on who to contact, where to go for your resources, how often it should be updated. All those resources are in there. Let me just look at other chats here. Yeah, you're welcome for the information on 211. I didn't know it existed either, and I'm really thrilled that it does.
Yeah, I'm familiar with 911 and 511 for traffic, I think, but 211 was new to me.
Yeah, yeah. One of the most important things I've learned is to listen to what your body is telling you. You know what? Our brain bypasses our body so often that really when we sit into our body knowledge, our body knows first before our brain gets caught up in the stories and the chatter and the chatter and the continuing chatter. So when you can sit still and really dig into what's my body telling me, and we know that gut brain connection is real, but it starts with the gut. So your body knows, and really listening to our body is important. There's a question from Maria: exercise to improve your mind and body. So yeah, there's lots of exercises. If you get into YouTube, I actually love if you are familiar with YouTube, if you go into it, if you go into Qigong exercises, if you look at Qigong, and I'll put it in the chat. So that's what it looks like. Qigong exercises for aging. And I do these for some of my workshops, and I do them for myself. So to keep our brain active, here's one that I'll show you right off the bat if we have a little bit of time. It's like hunt the rabbit. Hunt the rabbit. See how hard it is to switch the brain? You can do it right now. So put your thumb up and the finger like this, and then switch. See how hard it is? So it's trying to get your left and right brain aligned, like working, and you're using, it's like tap the head, pat the belly thing. So what it's doing is it's getting your brain to work in different ways. So that pruning of the brain that happens, you're kind of filling it like a big tree. That's why walking is so important. That pattern of left and right together, it's actually synchronizing your brain systems, okay? So there's basic Qigong exercises that you can do.
I really had to think about that to get the coordination going.
Yeah, and there's other ones on there too. And I can pass some on to Nazma or you, Colin, and both of you probably to maybe add to your repertoire of
Sure.
putting it out in your emails. So I have found that joining fitness classes with my local seniors. Yes, yes, yes. Seniors classes with fitness and both physically, socially, emotional support, really important, really fantastic. I have a sister who's in her 70s. She lost her very young daughter shortly after childbirth, and her daughter was quite young, and she went through a real, and she's still grieving, of course she is, right? But it was only when she found the opportunities to volunteer and be in relationship with the community that she's been able to open up a little bit. The grief is the same, but the more life that you build around it, it feels a little more manageable. Yeah, there's a couple of guys, physiotherapists on YouTube that I watch all the time. And one of the things I'll tell you right now, something that I do while I'm driving is I have a roller.
Oh, yeah.
And even when you're sleeping, you can put a rolled up towel behind your neck. So you know how because we're always like this and we're training our body to kind of hunch over. This is the time when you can put, like right now, I have a back pillow
Ah,
right behind me. So it's to keep our spine straight, right? And this is the time, even when you're lying down, rolled up sock, rolled up pillow at the back of your neck to guide your neck back again. Okay. Really important.
yeah, my physiotherapist recommends I take time through the day just to lean back after sitting in a
Because
chair
we're
like
like
this.
this all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so good to be in a forward position all the time for the whole day.
Yes. Mohinder, yes, you're welcome. Are you willing to make for other community groups? Yes, I am. I have charged for this. I will be completely honest with you, but I have given the friends and family benefit here. So absolutely get in touch, and I'm happy to do this. Okay.
Actually, NASMA experiences calling 211. You mentioned NASMA might have some.
Yeah, Nazma, do you want to talk about your experience with 211?
Okay, so for 211, I'm hosting a family from Afghanistan, 11 people. They came here, they had no idea what to do. So here I was trying to find resources about how to get the furniture for them, clothing for them, English as a second language. Call 911, they said, give me the location. So I gave them the postal code. And right away, she gave me so much resources, and was excellent resources, that as soon as I called, I got so much information as to where to go. Amazing information. 211, the phone call was the best thing I ever did for them.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's nice to know that's available. Is that Shane, do you know, is that a government funded service or is that
Yes.
okay.
It's government
Yeah.
funded. How lucky are we?
Yeah.
There's so many things that we can say yuck to about government, but this is one thing that we can celebrate.
That's good.
Yeah, even in your presentations and in the one about health that was really catching to me that I brought up to Colin was medication. How important it is to put a printout in your wallet in case anything happens and nobody knows what medications you are taking. But that small piece of paper to put in your wallet helps a person who is looking to say, okay, what is she on? Because nobody knows, right? So all those tips are very good that I found.
Yes, that was something that I didn't know about, to keep just a list of the medications you take with you in your wallet. All right. If there are no other questions.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Ontario government will send resources to your home to help out. Yeah. All right, if there are no other questions, then I think you have a survey, right?
Yes,
Carl?
I'll just mention too, our plan is to make a summary of the of resources, and if we get our tech activities lined up, recording of this presentation available through our website. My plan is in 48 hours, I'll just send you an email with a link, guidance on how to get started accessing the summary of resources from this meeting. And when you leave the meeting, you should be presented within when we tried it, sometimes it's a few seconds, sometimes it's maybe 30 seconds, maybe presented in your browser, a survey popping up. You can choose to leave any feedback you like there. So thank you all for participating, everybody. It was great to try something new with our group. And thank you, Shahin, for a wonderful presentation. We really appreciate your knowledge and experience and guidance.
You're very welcome. I did put my email on there in case you have other community groups that if you want something short like this, then yes, I'm absolutely happy. Please get in touch.
Okay, and Nazma, thank you for connecting us to Shahin. Appreciate it. Oh, you're muted.
Anytime.
Okay, folks, I guess that wraps it up. Well, thank you again, and hope you have a good rest of your day. And thanks again for joining.
Yeah, thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody on
Good
mute,
actually.
say bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Thank
folks.
you. Thank you, Nazma.
That was wonderful.
Thank you, Shannon. That
You're
was
welcome.
excellent. Thank you.
Anytime.
Alrighty.
Don't forget to wait for the survey. Don't get off your computers too soon.
Don't get 'em. Okay, okay.
Leave it
Done.